Hey there, hey, and thank you for tuning in to this Hump Day pod of Born to Be a Star. Today is another day and another opportunity for you to recognize your star power. Today is another day and another opportunity for you to recognize how amazing the reflection in the mirror that you're looking back at is. We're learning to love ourselves, to appreciate ourselves, and to be okay with ourselves, right? Every day is another day closer to us just not having to think about being okay with who we are in that reflection in that mirror, right? And that's the entire idea of this podcast. It's for you to recognize your star power, for you to understand that you are the light in the darkness, and you are the only thing that can defeat that. We together in this gray thing called life. We're all different variations of the same color. It doesn't matter where we're from. It doesn't matter where we're going. It doesn't matter our age. It doesn't matter our eye color or our hair tone. We're all different variations of the same colors, unique in some ways yet different in others. And when we look in the mirror and we recognize our star power and we recognize our stardom, we should learn to love it, right? Love the things that make us who we are, right? And that's the whole entire point of everything, is to recognize our light, even in the mix of chaos and insanity. So today is another day, another opportunity for you to recognize that you can start off the day by saying, yes, I can have a great day. Today is another day and another opportunity where you can let things go. You can try something new. You can change your mind. You can decide that you're tired of renting and you want to buy. You can decide that you want to get rid of your lemon car and you want to get a new one because you're tired of just dumping money in a hole, and every time you fix something on the car, you have to refix something else. I mean, who really has the time to do that? I've been in situations where I've had clunkers and junkers and lemons, and I've invested time and money and effort, and it ended up backfiring on me. And now that, I do have sort of a reliable vehicle, I cannot imagine not having it, right? The thought just makes me question a lot of things. Moving on from the idea of saying yes, you can, because you can learn to start a new hobby. You can learn to knit, or you can learn to sew, or you can learn to play the violin or the piano or the saxophone, or maybe you want to learn how to play chess professionally. Maybe you want to learn how to play poker professionally. Maybe you want to fix the sheetrock in the bedroom, and you want to do some HGTV stuff all by yourself, and you want to practice some more DIY. Maybe you want to travel more. Maybe you're ready to change your hair color because you're sick of it being blonde and now you want it to be red. Whatever the case may be, something big or small, like you want to learn how to knit or sew, or you want to find a new show on Netflix, right? Whatever the case may be. Maybe you want to decide that you want to make new friends, or you want to join a gym. Whatever the case may be, we should be looking for an opportunity to say yes, we can to things versus saying no, we can't. And outside of the idea of saying to ourselves, yes, we can, we have to move to the idea of saying to ourselves, we're never going to give up. Because how can you possibly love yourself or anyone else and you're not willing to fight? You're not willing to persevere through the difficulty to get back to the good. We know life is not always easy. We know the sunshine's not always there. We know sometimes it rains. Sometimes it snows. Sometimes it's a tornado or a hurricane, right? We know if you live by the shore, you might not get the best weather and you might be walking around in some sort of fog, right? That might happen. That might be the case. Things might not always be easy. They might be hard. They might be difficult. You might be experiencing something very horrible. The doctor might have said something to you that you don't like. Maybe the doctor said something to you that you do like, right? Maybe you did lose weight. Maybe you did have a good experience. Maybe something is going to go the way you want it to. Whatever the case may be, you can't give up. Giving up is the easy way out. Fighting and persevering through the difficulty is the hard way, right? But that's the only way. We cannot give up on each other, and we cannot give up on ourselves. If we want to change things, if we want to be the difference, if we want to continue to be the light, we can't ever give up. We have to support the men and women that serve the country that we live in, and we have to support those who believe in freedom, not just where we are, but everywhere. Brothers and sisters, us together, we can change things only if we believe in each other. I can promise you I'll never give up on you, and I hope and I know you'll never give up on me too. The power of our light is unstoppable. Moving on from the idea of never giving up is the idea of why not today, because the aliens are going to come because they're hungry, and we want to make sure we get everything done correctly. First of all, let's start off with the dishwasher like we do every day. Are you going to fix the dishwasher by yourself? Now, I've watched Property Brothers. I've watched a whole bunch of HGTV shows, right? I don't really know if I want to deal with trying to take a dishwasher out of the socket in the kitchen and put another one in there or figure out what's wrong with it. That just seems like a lot of work to me, and I don't even know where to begin or where to end with that. It kind of sounds very interesting, honestly. And who knows? But maybe you want to do that. And if you do, man, go on with the DIY. Personally, I don't even know where to begin with that. That sounds like a complete nightmare in a horror movie to me. The only thing I know about the dishwasher is how to control it and make it go for a certain amount of time, or where to put in the dishwasher cube, because that's what we use to do the dishwasher with in our house, right? If the dishwasher doesn't work, I don't mind washing the dishes by hand, but I don't really want to, and it sounds like a nightmare to me. So we have the dishwasher. We want it to work correctly. If it's not working correctly, we're going to contact someone to fix it. Likely it's going to be someone from, I don't know, that website. Or we're going to contact a family member that maybe knows how to fix it. There's Angie. That's a website that you can use, or an app. You can contact your father or your brother or somebody that is good with handiwork and fixing things, and you probably want to get that fixed. If the washing machine in the basement's not working correctly and you can't figure out why it's not spinning correctly, you probably should call somebody that actually knows how to fix a washing machine instead of trying to figure out why it's not working. And also, if your car's not working correctly, I mean, I do know a lot about cars, but I'm still going to bring it to a mechanic. And if the wall looks really rinky-dinky in the living room and there's some smudge on the wall, I'm likely going to True Value and I'll fix it and I'll paint it. Because I don't like that kind of stuff, and I hope you don't either. The idea of why not today is we're not procrastinating and we're no longer being indecisive. If you have to reschedule something, then you might need to leave work early to go to an appointment. You might need to take the day off of work. You might have to schedule your vacation in advance to know what days you're taking off so you can enjoy yourself. You might want to organize your closet, right? We talked about that yesterday. You might want to restructure your life so you can actually get things done in the allotted time that you have available. Because if you don't strategically plan things out that way, you'll never get them done. And that's the entire idea. Why put off today for tomorrow? Why are we assuming that tomorrow's coming? Have you seen Mad Max? Have you seen Minority Report? Have you seen Terminator 1, 2, and 3 plus iRobot? Have you seen these movies, Total Recall, that really bring up questions? Most of these are sci-fi, murder mysteries, and thrillers, right? Even The Matrix and Bourne Identity, Jason, right? 007, right? If you actually watch these movies and you read the storyline and you listen to the purpose of the movie, we can't buy time. This is not a movie. Things are going to happen. And the only way we can succeed at accomplishing things is to understand that they're going to continue to happen. And that's it. We're not putting off today for tomorrow because we don't know if tomorrow's coming. I don't know about you, but I might reconsider how much I like technology if a robot is going to come pretend to be me. And the idea that AI can do that kind of scares me. And it should scare everyone. But also, if you have an appointment, if you need to get something done, if you have to do something, whatever it may be, right? If you need to go to the grocery store, if you need to fix the vacuum cleaner, if your iPhone's not working correctly, unfortunately, you're going to have to make an appointment at the Apple store, and you're going to have to go there, and you're going to have to deal with some person at a genius bar that you might be questioning how they're a genius. But you're probably going to have to go make that appointment, and you're probably going to have to deal with that. And this is probably going to be a situation where you are going to have some sort of experience with AI or technology. We cannot put off today for tomorrow, and we do not have a remote like Adam Sandler. This is not a movie. So the movies that we have seen, it should be something to get us in the mindset that tomorrow isn't something we can buy, because our money can't afford that. We cannot buy time. Moving on from the mantra, let's get to the headlines with no media allowed, no media allowed, no media allowed. They lie to us anyway. I want to start off the political segment of the podcast by saying great job to Netanyahu and Israel for attacking and killing the leader of Iran. I'm very happy to hear that they got more than one of those sons of bitches that took away so many loved ones and so many amazing kids and men and women in Israel. And I just want to take a moment for us to give a moment of silence to all those taken on October 7th of 2023. Let's take a moment of silence for all the Jewish, all the Israelis taken before their time. Father God, bring us together. We caught some of those bad guys, God, and let them catch more of those bad guys in Gaza. Let Israel stand strong against the world telling them to cave in and have a ceasefire. Right? There's no ceasefire. I've said to you many times, I've had Jewish friends my entire life. My entire life, from a very, very young age. You know how many bar mitzvahs I've been to? You know how many parties and family events and friendships and things that I've experienced over the years and decades with Jewish people? I can't even tell you. Some of my neighbors are Jewish, man. Like, the idea I wouldn't like someone because their religion is different than mine is insane to me. I've been mocked because of my own religion, because I'm Catholic, right? And even before I was Catholic and I was Baptist, I got mocked for that too. I've never been a person to judge someone based off their religion unless they're like some Islamic Muslim psychopath, right? Because that's what those people are. But they got some of the bad guys and they can't stop now. And I understand everybody wants to complain about now. There won't be any conversations about a ceasefire and hostages. But I've been saying the entire time, it's likely all the hostages are dead. I know people aren't going to want to hear that. I know that's probably uncomfortable. I know it probably doesn't feel good or sound good for me to say that out loud, but it's probably true. Do you know how many bodies they've been finding when they've been in these places?
All right, Jim. There's a new trend among cost-conscious couples to sell tickets to their wedding. So this pair of newlyweds told the New York Post, for example, they charge over $300 per person. Is this wrong? I don't know what's worse.
I do think that they can't stop. And I think the idea, again, that Kamala Harris did not show up to Netanyahu coming to the United States of America to speak is just another representation of the Democratic Party. See, the Democratic Party doesn't care about what's actually happening around the world or even in the United States of America. If Netanyahu and Israel do not fight against Hezbollah and Iran right now, this is just going to happen again. The only reason that Hamas did this to begin with is because they knew Biden was weak. And they already know Harris is too. A message needs to be sent here. You mess with fire, you're going to get burnt. And that's it. I'm very happy to hear that they have some sort of revenge against those 12 children dying the other day. Like, for the love of God. In other news, Kat Timpf is pregnant. Congratulations to her from Fox News. So excited. Another mom joining the club. Hopefully I'm next. We'll see what happens. It's so exciting for women to become moms and to move into that mom feature, especially women that are, journalists and women that are speaking about poli-science and political views. And she's not a Republican. She's not a conservative. She is a liberal. Not a liberal, but she's not a person that has a specific size, but it's a side. But she's very interesting to listen to, and I'm very excited for her. It seems like Kamala Harris, and I wanted to speak about her first. Thank you for letting me take the time to say a prayer for Israel and October 7th for a moment. We cannot forget what happened. We cannot have forgiveness, and we cannot give remorse to Iran or Hamas or Hezbollah or any of them, right? We have to hold strong. We have an ally in the region, and the ally is Israel. We have an ally in the region, and the ally is Jewish people. Again, their faith might not be the same as yours. It's definitely different than mine. I'm Catholic. None of it is the same, right? What you eat, kosher, the church, the prayers, it's not the same. And I can recognize that, and I can understand that it's different. And that to me doesn't matter, right? I had my moment where I was upset with Ben Shapiro about what he did with Candace Owens and how they reacted to her. And I still disagree that his reactions were good, but I still listen to Daily Wire and I still like it, right? And Ben Shapiro isn't the only person that I like that's Jewish, right? He's not. I don't think it's necessary for Kamala Harris to admit to the world that she doesn't care about the actual war that's taking place. Because Israel is having a war in 3 different areas all at once. Is America actually telling them to stop? Do you not know what happened during 9/11? And since I'm bringing up 9/11, and I know we're going in a circle here, do you understand that they made a plea deal with someone that had something to do with 9/11? Why? Okay. Moving on from Israel to Kamala Harris, the puppet on the stage. She's pretending now that she doesn't care about medical for all. She doesn't care about stopping fracking. And half of everything she just said on all these recordings where we can see her being a total left atheist, insane person, none of that's real. No, that's not the real Kamala Harris. Those videos and those clips and her speaking and all those interviews that she did in the past where she shows exactly who she is, left to Bernie Sanders, that's not her. You know, CDNC, right? They're covering for her. Just like they covered for Biden. But this isn't going to work because she's fucking crazy. And she isn't having interviews like he hasn't had interviews. And how did that do him? Because he didn't have any interviews. He didn't hold any press conferences. He came out for that debate and he got buried alive. What do you think is going to happen to Kamala Harris? Is she going to not do any interviews outside of talking to Megan Thee Stallion in a back room? And Megan Thee Stallion is not the representation of black people that any black person should want. Some people that are black or minority or maybe don't live in a suburbia town but live in a city don't speak like that in their homes. Even if they do live in an apartment. Maybe they live in a house. Maybe they live in a condo. Whatever, wherever they live, whatever neighborhood it is, maybe they just talk normally. Why is she pretending like she has a southern accent? She's from California. That's not what the California accents sound like. And we all know that. She changes like the weather. She is desperate to fit in. She has done a bunch of things that we shouldn't give her a way out of. And we should call her out any opportunity that we get. She's a fake pretending puppet. That's who she is. She'll go with the flow if it benefits her. And she'll bury everyone else alive if it keeps her alive and keeps her head above water. She sold out Joe Biden. And if she sold out Joe Biden, she'll definitely sell you out too. I want you, if you're a woman, if you're a minority, if you're a college student, if you're a college graduate, if you're a working citizen in the United States of America or any country around the world, to think about what the Biden administration has done for you while they've been in power. And see, the idea that Kamala Harris wants to separate herself from Joe Biden, let's bring up Afghanistan again. You know, when those 13 soldiers died with a suicide bomber, remember that? Remember when we left Afghanistan and now China took over that base? How's that working? Was that smart? It wasn't, right? The examples of the people that they have set out here that are supposed leaders here: Janet Yellen, Jerome Powell, Pete Buttigieg, right? The other guy from California that is dying to take Kamala's position, Gavin Newsom, all the rest of them. They're all the same. They want to convince an entire segment of the population in the United States of America to vote for them with false promises. This is what led me to become independent and unaffiliated in the first place. Politicians always tell you they're going to give you something, and then in the end they give you nothing at all. And the only thing that they did was take your power away from you, because we shouldn't be electing these unqualified idiots in power. What exactly is AOC qualified to do? They're using her as some sort of Instagram role model or something, and she...
Hi, AB. How are you?
And she literally, who knows?
Okay, let me see. Hold on. Let me turn off my notification. Hold on.
She literally
Okay.
is the same.
Sally, how are you?
Like, how does this work exactly?
Hey, Stephanie.
How does this work? Because all she does is lie. And I know that people continue to say that they're on a honeymoon phase. When is a honeymoon going to end? Because typically a honeymoon is like a week to 2 weeks, and that's the honeymoon. And you got to get back to work and the reality of it, unless you're rich. And I guess if you're living like 50 Shades of Grey, the entire thing can be like a honeymoon. But normal people don't live in 50 Shades of Grey, and more normal people don't get to experience that. Now, if you're lucky, you get to live like every day is Valentine's Day, and I mean, basically that's how I live, and I'm very lucky in that regard, because my husband is an amazing man, and he provides a life where I get to basically do whatever I want, and I don't have to explain myself to anybody about anything, and I'm very appreciative for that. We've worked hard to get where we are, and nothing's going to stop us. But when I think about Kamala Harris and her false promises and all the ridiculous, insane shit she said already in the past, and the idea that CDNC or whatever you want to call them, and Clinton News Network and ABC, which should be embarrassed of itself, that they get to go to a black conference that she was supposed to show up to today and didn't end up going, but Donald Trump decided to go. And the first question is from a host from ABC, which says, why are you using incorrect verbiage or talking points with people? Now, let me give you the breakdown of this. And I'm sending this message to ABC and every other whack news station that exists out there. Let me tell you how it is. Nobody's watching you. No one's listening to you. You're not on like hip hop stars. You're not a viral video. You're in a dying case that no one can see in an ocean where no one's around it. You're dead and you don't know it yet. See, you're like a zombie in like The Walking Dead, where you don't recognize that you're not alive. Just like Joe Biden and just like Kamala Harris. Do you understand you're not the representation of black people? Because black people don't owe their votes to anyone, especially after what the Democratic Party has done to them their entire existence, right? Brings me back to Martin Luther King being a reverend and Malcolm X and so many others. Why do we not want to pretend like freedom of speech isn't power? Why do we want to pretend like black people owe anything to the government? They don't. Why is it okay for black journalists to attack Donald Trump like that? That man almost got shot and killed like 2 weeks ago. And that's how you're going to come across? Shouldn't you be actually asking him questions about how he's going to fix not just the black community, but all of the communities? What is he going to do to bring the gas prices back down lower to where they were when he was in office? What is he going to do to make home affordability for first-time home buyers more affordable? What is he going to do to have, the salaries match up with the cost of living? What is he going to do to bring down inflation, which we're all unfortunately experiencing in the United States of America? See, those would have been some of the questions that bitch could have asked. And yes, I'm calling her a bitch because she is one. But she got schooled, and it was very entertaining to watch it happen multiple times because I watched Fox for a couple of hours tonight, and I really did enjoy listening to him school them. See, he didn't have to show up. He didn't have to go to any of the places that he's gone to, especially in the black communities, in the black neighborhoods, in the places that Republicans and Democrats in these shilled, unqualified, incompetent, non-attached, disconnected politicians typically are, right? He understands the timing, and Donald Trump understands where we are. Under Donald Trump's command, black people and black families were succeeded. And I'm bringing up the tone of black right now because I want to send you a message. Today, Trump broke the internet. And he has done this many times. He is the most well-known man in the entire world. He built the sky rises in New York City. There is not another man like him anywhere in the world. I want you for a moment to think about how idiotic these fools look. Cussing and yelling and screaming and getting emotional and mad and upset. Not acting the way that they should be acting, right? Real journalism is asking questions and getting answers. Giving, actual, one-to-one, content and conversation, right? You're actually doing investigating. You're actually going out and you're finding a story and you're reporting on it. That's what real journalism is. You're not just making up fictitious shit because it's convenient for you and you like it. But that's what the Democratic Party does. But I think the one thing the Democratic Party isn't recognizing is they could change Kamala's voice and make her sound Southern. They can even try to erase the internet and pretend like Donald Trump didn't get shot on Google because now you can't Google that. Try to Google it. Try to Google Donald Trump assassination and see if that pops up. It's not going to. They whitewashed it. They hired in a new person in charge of the Secret Service, and he's pretending like he doesn't know stuff. But a video came out today that shows the person that went to kill Donald Trump running around the rooftop. And where was the guy that was supposed to be on the opposite rooftop that could have stopped him and hindered him from doing what he did? Corey is dead. 2 other people got injured. Donald Trump almost died. Someone's life was lost here. And that is horrible. Why isn't that name available? Why, during this conversation at this black conference or any other conference that they're having that Donald Trump is invited to, do people do ignorant things and pretend they're not doing it? So it appears that their broadcasting system wasn't working correctly at this conference. and they were 35 minutes late. And he brought that up during a conversation with the chick from ABC, and that was kind of entertaining watching her reaction because she didn't really have one. And she came across as tacky, ignorant, and disconnected. And it really just made me feel like, God, I'm glad I'm not looking up to you as a role model. And for the love of God, I hope my niece Cammie isn't either. Or any woman. Or any girl. Or anyone. Why do they give these people, like, microphones and any sort of airtime? Like, clearly, she just failed horribly at this conversation. If you're trying to speak to the masses, it's probably not a good idea to use a black conference to try to insult Donald Trump after he just got shot 2 weeks ago. And he put his hand in the air and he said, fight, fight, fight. Because Kamala Harris isn't doing that. And she supposedly is black. Although before she was black in 2019, she was Indian the entire time. Especially when she went on the YouTube channel and said she was cooking Indian food. That happened. That's not how race works. So people coming out saying she's been black the entire time. Were they on the video when she said she was Indian? And are they in the picture where she's with her Indian family? Why are we still talking about Barack Obama? Because I'm not convinced that he is American. And you might think I'm crazy for asking that. But during the time or the debate or the conversation, when they were seriously questioning it, I don't know if I actually ever got an answer. And that should be concerning to you. For the most part, there's always these ridiculous conversations that people are having, right? But the question should be, what's the ending answer? And I don't really know if we have one. I don't know. Kamala Harris is not helping anyone black. She's not helping any females, and she's not helping any girls. She supports trans rights, not women rights. She supports the Uniparty, not the Democratic Party. There is no more Democratic Party. That ship has sailed. Anyone that was seriously in the middle is gone. Now, I know that might upset you, that might anger you, that might have you questioning things, but it's a fact. Why are we so easily persuaded to lie to ourselves? I want you again to look in history, and let's look at Malcolm X. And let's look at Martin Luther King. Wasn't his dream for us to all live together? And I say every day to you that we are all different variations of the same color. Maybe if we stop arguing with each other and we actually look at the facts, like COVID was a lie, like the government is constantly taking tax money from you and half of the shit they're taking the money from, we don't know what it is. Like the war on food, the war on farmers, the war in the middle class, the war on Christians, the war on women, where women are getting women-faced by men pretending to be women with penises. It can't be both. That's not how chromosomes work. I'm sorry that you don't like facts and reality, right? And I totally support the trans community. And you can have as much fun as you want, but still, a woman is a woman and a man is a man. And if you want to put on a costume and you want to pretend, do whatever makes you happy. If you're more comfortable wearing a skirt, then just say that. Don't be like Dylan Mulvaney because you don't have any actual talent and you want a woman face. He is running around pretending to be a woman, making fun of it, right? That's what it means to face something. It means you're subjugating it and you're really insulting it. That's what he's doing. And he was the representation for a bear company that honestly should just disappear. We cannot pretend like this insanity is okay. Men walking around women's locker rooms with their penis hanging out with little girls. Like, it's inappropriate. That's the point. It's been inappropriate. And before, this shit wasn't like this. Before, there used to be some sort of control. But the Democratic Party doesn't like control. And the Uniparty doesn't like control. And the authoritarians don't like control because they want to control you. They want to censor you. They want to tell you what you can say, what you can't say. Remember all the conversation during COVID about what medications or what other vaccinations could have been helped? Turns out that the FDA got in trouble for censoring people that actually did have things that would have worked to save a lot of people. I'm not surprised. And you shouldn't be surprised either. I mean, today is just Wednesday. And I got to witness Donald Trump school a bunch of idiots. And it was very entertaining. And I also got to recognize that, Iran got exactly what they deserved. And I'm really interested to see what happens for the rest of the week. Dan Bongino doesn't think Donald Trump's life is safe right now. And I want to steer into the conversation of Secret Service really quickly before we get to the main part of the political conversation. The guy that took over the Secret Service needs to get fired. The guy that was supposed to be on top of that building that wasn't needs to get fired. And I want their fucking names. And that's what's owed to the American public. You don't get to do shit like this and do DEI hires and do all this woke propagandized bullshit in all these federal agencies where we actually need people to do a job and do it correctly, or this happens. Can you imagine what's happening in all these other agencies like, the FBI and the CIA and the Department of Homeland Security or the Navy or the Marines or any of these bodies of government that's supposed to protect the American person? Donald Trump almost died because he wasn't protected correctly. And you know whose fault that is? The Secret Service. You know who else's fault that is? The Secret Service. I'm not talking about the police on the ground, because it's the responsibility of the Secret Service to do shit correctly the first time, so this type of stuff does not happen, right? John F. Kennedy shouldn't have died, right? Another example is neither should Martin Luther King. Malcolm X shouldn't be dead either. None of the men that were assassinated in history should have died. There's been a problem with the Secret Service from the beginning of it. Their relations with these other bodies of government.
You won't see that on Special Report, guys. Believe it or not, I made that content all myself.
Honestly.
Oh, God, okay. Don't go away, we're gonna be right back, baby.
Honestly. What has to happen for someone to ring a bell or some shit and wake everybody up? Hiring people based off of DEI or doing all this woke propaganda stuff where everything is about sex and race and gay and lesbians and ABCDEFG crew and the blood mafia and having people being held over fire and sacrificed for what? What's going to happen at the end of this? We are trying to indoctrinate children to the point where they have no identity at all. If you're born with a penis, you're a guy. If you're born with a vagina, you're a girl. Now, you could do the whole dress up thing and pretend, and if that makes you happy, okay. Have fun. But you're still not that other thing, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there it was. When it comes to the protection and Secret Service and watching over people and doing your job correctly, if you're going to not be prepared and not do things correctly, and it turns out that there was an investigation prior to this where a body of government predicted that something like this could have happened, and they told this department that it wasn't prepared. Yet here we are. Don't get it. Makes no sense. In the end, the Secret Service is just like the Department of Justice, which is just like the FBI, which is just like the CIA, which is just like the federal government, which is just like your shitty state government that has a city part of the state that is a city for illegal aliens to come into. During the night after the fall in Afghanistan, thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of them were sent here in the night on like silent planes, and they put them places, gave them money, gave them jobs and cars and food, and they are allowing these people to live in our country, and they're not from here. They're allowing these people to cut in line with people who are actually doing everything the correct way. And they are okay with allowing people to come into this country that should not be here. If you're going to be far left and you are going to be anti-God and you are going to be pro-Hamas and you are going to be pro-insanity and you're going to be a suicide bomber, then you need to leave the United States of America. If you're not going to abide by our traditions and our rules and the things that are important here, then you need to leave America. I'm sorry if you don't like that, but that's the only way this is going to work. And that is the only way it's ever worked. This is not an autocracy. It's a republic. And if you don't understand the difference between an autocracy and a republic, then you probably need to go back to school again. I'm going to recommend that you start off with grade 5, because maybe you didn't graduate from elementary school. Probably you didn't, though, because if you actually went to public school, they probably just moved you to the next grade because the teacher teaching you probably wasn't that bright anyway. Honestly, public school is like the death of education, and anyone with a brain knows that. But if you're willing to vote democratically after everything I just said, including the fact that the pre-president of the United States of America, soon to be president of the United States of America, who has people sending out death threats from Iran, almost got killed, and the person who's responsible for it isn't fired yet. If that's not politics, I don't know what the hell is, man. Fighting for our freedom is talking the way I'm speaking and fighting. The American stream is the fact that everybody wants to stream thing and everybody wants somebody to click on it. No, the American stream is that this isn't working. If we don't admit the failure, how do we fix it? Like, if we don't seriously come out and admit that this Democratic Party is not working, then how are we going to get rid of them? They're not working. Their policies fucking suck, right? This whole green energy bullshit fucking sucks. I don't want just an electric car. That's not going to get me where I want to go. And maybe it'll get some hunky-dory liberal where they want to go, but I'm not them. So the idea that I have to pretend like I am is kind of irritating. It's failed. Their policies suck, okay? The education system is horrible, okay? The welfare queens and kings that want to suck the titty of the government can do that on their own time, but you're not going to take away my private medical, and you're not going to take away my ability to be free. I don't want you to talk about my right to bear arms, and I don't really want you talking about my freedom of speech. And I'm so tired of people incorrectly bringing up what that actually is. Just because you don't like what I have to say doesn't mean I can't say it. That just means you can put a sock in it and keep your opinion to yourself. Do you actually know what the idea of freedom of speech means? Doubtful. If we don't admit failure, how do we fix it? What I just said to you about freedom of speech, you know how many people live here in this country that have probably been here for a long time that don't understand what I just said. Pretty pathetic, right? I had this woman at this manager at this job say this to me. And I'm going to tell you what she said. And she's a moron. I'm going to say it. Freedom of speech doesn't mean you can say what you want. It's how you say it that matters. Well, let me give you a response back to that comment. Dear idiot, this is what freedom of speech means. I can have whatever thought I want, and you can't stop me from having it. You don't need to agree with me, but you can't silence me. And the idea that you want to because you don't like what I'm saying means that you're part of the problem. And if you don't like the idea of freedom of speech and you don't like America, why don't you get your ass back on a fucking rug and go fly back to where you came from and leave? Yeah, take all your ugly family members with you and never come back. How about that? How about that be the response you give to people that say ridiculous stuff to you like that? Or people that want to insult you because you're American, or want to insult you because you're Christian, or want to insult you because you're conservative. When you hear people make these comments where they don't actually understand what the Constitution of the United States is, and they don't actually understand the Bill of Rights, they don't get it, right? They think things are predicated with politics, and they haven't actually really read these things. When you hear these comments, you gotta just laugh to yourself. If we don't admit what I just said to you, and we don't admit the actual issues here, we're never going to fix them. And the actual issues here are liberals, are Democrats, are these spoon-fed, wine-tasting, wannabe actors and pretenders that are acting like they're a part of something that they're never going to be into. You're not hanging out with the in crowd. You'll never be in the in crowd. The in crowd doesn't like you, right? These people are diluted. They're in their own minds, and they're all insane. They think they're a part of something that does not exist, because I'm sorry, the elite doesn't know you or care about you or think about you. You just never existed to begin with. And the idea that you think you're important means you don't actually understand politics. Politics is about power, not people. Power. That's it. If you don't try to fix what's broken, the pieces are just going to be left on the ground. Do we protect our children, or how do we protect our children? One, get them into private school and get them out of public education, because the longer they're in there, the more deteriorated their brains are going to become. And I know people are like, I can't afford it. How do I do it? Figure it out. Try to get some sort of scholarship, or try to convince your child to think outside the box so you can find a way to do it. Energy independence, America doesn't have it, but they need it. Moving on from politics, let's get to red or blue, they're coming for you, the Matrix. Decensored to the truth. America has become decensored to the truth. Everyday things with people running around shooting and killing and raping and attacking. These illegal aliens coming into our American cities and raping women and taking mothers from their children and taking college students from their careers. And what matters most to them doesn't seem to matter. I have given you so many examples of dead people that have died for no reason, including Laken Riley. Every time I say her name, I want to cry, but I've gotten stronger in my conviction to saying her name every day and every opportunity that I can say it. That poor girl should be alive. She was such an amazing, amazing, beautiful young woman, and her future was as amazing as she was. And she was taken from us, from her mom, her dad, her sister, her loved ones, her community, her life, those who she was going to touch and change. She was taken, and we can't get her back. All we have is her memory. All we have is saying her name, and all we have is fighting in her remembrance. And I won't forget her. I will say her name every day and every opportunity that I can. And I will ask that God blesses her family without resound. Laken is just an example. There's a young man that fought in the war in New York and was stabbed to death 8 times. And the DA, Alvin Braggs, let his killers off. Told his mom that there was nothing he could do about it. And the mom of 5 in Maryland was killed in a park that her brother got married at, that her brother proposed to his wife in, a park that she had been through many times before. Loving mother of 5, a loving daughter, a loving sister, a loving wife. Murdered and taken. When I talk about decensored, I'm telling you that people don't care about what I just said. They're not thinking that that could be them. They're not thinking that that could be their mom. That could be their sister. That could be their best friend. That could be their neighbor. That could be them. They're not thinking that, but I'm always thinking that. That's why I always lock the door and I always look behind me. You never know. Why are we decensored to politics? Why are we decensored to everyday things? Why have we allowed ourselves to not want to talk about real things? In the Matrix, I took the red pill, so I see everything for what it is. But mostly everyone around me hasn't, right? Mostly everyone around me has their eyes closed and they don't know what the hell's going on. They're not asking any questions. They're not considering anything I'm saying. They like being in the unawareness area. They like having no connection to reality at all. I personally can't do that, but good for them that they can. We have decentered ourselves to a point where I'm not sure if we can get that back. I just gave you an example of about 5 people being murdered by illegal aliens, which should be making you say, what the fuck? But I don't even think you might even flinch if you're listening to this. I have to say Laken Riley's name without crying. Do you know how hard that is for me to say her name? When I heard about what happened to her, I wept. It really broke my heart, right? I've been that girl running through a campus. I've been that woman of mine, of that mom of 5 in Maryland, running through a park. I've been that 12-year-old going to a bodega or a gas station for something. We could all put ourselves in the positions of those that have been lost and taken. And the idea that no one's reacting to it and no one's saying anything is pretty damn frightening to me. It's pretty frightening to me that we're decentered to the fact that we all accepted taking a COVID vaccination, even though we don't know what the origination of the COVID vaccination was. Pretty much China, and we all know it at this point, and Dr. Fauci lied to us. But we don't really want to really dissect that, do we? Because dissecting what's actually happening with COVID is recognizing that the government lied to us for power. So they could push on us the vaccinations they wanted us to take. The ones that would make them even richer than they already are. And in the end, that's what it all comes down to. Pharma just wants to take your money and make up some shit that's going to make them richer. They don't want to tell you about the side effects. They don't want to tell you about the ailments. They don't want to tell you about the infertility. They don't want to tell you about getting sick or dying. None of that's there, right? They're not going to tell you about all the negative things that are going to happen to you long term. They don't want to tell you about that stuff. We have decentered ourselves to taking drugs and taking vaccinations, and we don't know what the fuck it is, and we're putting it and injecting it into our bodies. We have given away our rights of our body during COVID to a uniparty government that doesn't care about any of us, right? We have decentered ourselves into not recognizing music, and I had an entire podcast about Christian music, right? Remember that? Right, I told you that I cannot listen to regular music because I just don't like it, and it's the truth. We've decentered ourselves into not recognizing that basically the music that we listen to now sucks, right? The fashion, the stores, all of it's not really that great. Even the food is like okay, but it's not great. Honestly, I don't know if we can get back our eyes or our goggles or reality. I don't know if we're too far gone from that. Why aren't we admitting reality? Why have we decentered ourselves to think we have to fit in, to think we have to lie to ourselves, to think we have to pretend we like things we don't like? I don't like the gaudy, ignorant, stupid actions. And like the whole culture-esque crap that they try to push on really concerns me too. Like, who listens to Megan Thee Stallion? What is she talking about in her music? And why does that have to be affiliated with black people? Why is it... Now, let me give you an example of decensored. Why aren't black people fighting against the narrative that they're ghetto or they're hood or they're this or they're that or they're wearing this or they're eating that? Why haven't we disconnected that? Why does pain and fear and unhappiness have to have a race or a color? If you want to succeed, you have to push yourself to do it. We have censored ourselves to being okay with giving away our body rights and our freedoms. You're in the car listening to something you don't like. You're listening to a voice that you don't connect with. Why are you doing that? We've censored ourselves to reality, and we need to come back down to it and face it all together. Decensoring yourself isn't going to fix anything. It's only going to make it worse. And that's the idea of this. We have to come back to the truth. That's the only way we escape the matrix, with the red pill and reality. Thanks for tuning in to this, the hump day edition of Red or Blue, they're coming for you, the Matrix. I am Trinity. Moving on to the main part of the conversation. Everything we believe in is important. Everything we believe in shouldn't be stopped. And everything we believe in should be important. The town center should be a place where you want to go, you want to hang out, and you want to get things done. The post office should be there. There should be some main banks. There should be a couple of restaurants and ice cream place. It should really be the center of town that makes you want to go back to. But so many town centers suck. So they really got to do a better job of putting things together. The new book club book looks okay, but I haven't started reading it yet, but I need to. Creating your own happiness depends on you, right? Yesterday I gave you that example about how some people see negativity as happiness, and you have to create your own happiness and not let that get you down. And someone nice said that to me, right? Discovering who you really are is recognizing who you really are and being okay with who that person is. Moving into watching things, find me falling. Oh, wait, pause.
Well, I think when we look at what happened with Megan Thee Stallion, we only have to look even as far back that Kamala Harris has also appeared on RuPaul's Drag Race.
That isn't correct. I almost talked about stuff I shouldn't be talking about. So give me a moment. So, have you heard of something called?
Yeah, no, I mean, Beverly makes a great point because at some point she is going to have to address her record, and she's in a tricky situation. She was in charge of the border. There were 10 million illegal immigrants. She is going to have to answer for the issues, and I don't think getting something to work for you is actually going to win you the election. It is the trickiest of situations, that is for sure.
Find me falling.
Well, as Democrats continue their love affair with Kamala Harris, it's worth doing some digging into her far-left record as California's Attorney General.
I feel like that is some sort of love movie. Sounds like a romance movie like Dear John or something. Maybe I'll watch it. Resurrected Rides. I'm pretty sure that's a show about like fixing cars or something. Looked okay. Tokyo Swindlers. Non-negotiable. Keep. Eve. Savi. That sounds like a horror movie. 600 Days of Escobar. That looks pretty okay. Supercell. Land of the Bad and Hitman. Those all sound like okay things. I'm still trying to finish up the first season of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which I love. Almost done with the latest season of Hell's Kitchen. Every time I watch an episode of Hell's Kitchen, I'm left thinking, like, how the hell did these people get on the show? Because they get on the show because they're talented, right? But when they're cooking and they're messing up and they're not knowing how to cut tomatoes and they're not knowing how to make risotto and stuff, things that they're supposed to know how to do, I'm left questioning, like, how far do we go from here? I don't know. Well, moving on from the watching things to the eating things, today, my boy on AEW beat somebody I didn't care about, and looks like Will Ospreay lost his title to MJF, and that's hilarious. I kind of suspected that was going to happen. So I would guess I was right. As you know, I like MJF, and I really don't care what anybody has to say to him negatively. Looks like the hook is still out, and so is Samoa Joe from Chris. And who knows what's next with that. Moving on from watching things, let's get into eating things. Today for dinner, we had jerk chicken and rice and peas, and it was delicious, from the jerk bar place not that far away. Garlic shrimp, you could have that over pasta or rice. Mediterranean chicken bowl. I think I'm going to have a gyro bowl for lunch tomorrow because I'm really tired of eating all these frozen things. It's starting to irritate me. We'll see what happens. Low carb pasta salad. So I'm assuming the low carb pasta salad doesn't include the pasta, or maybe it includes the pasta that doesn't have any carbs in it. So you want to do the no carb pasta. You want to do, some ham, some peppers, some sort of a ranch sauce, anything that goes into normal pasta salad. You mix that all together in the seasoning and everything, but maybe do an alternative to regular pasta. Cobb salad, so obviously egg, mayo, bacon, mix it together, get all the flavors. You really got to mix everything so you get the right consistency of like a Cobb salad. Then you want to also add in some sort of lettuce. You could even do turkey. I always said bacon. You could either make like a tuna salad out of this, or just do like an egg Cobb salad and put it over salad, or add the lettuce into it and maybe not mush it all together. There's so many options for Cobb salad. Really go on Pinterest or Pepper and decide which recipe you like the most. Harvest chicken bowl. That sounds like something I try. Homemade bagels. And finally, hot honey chicken salad. Doesn't that sound delicious? Does to me. Anyways, this is the end of the pod. Thank you for tuning in to Born to Be a Star. Don't forget you're a star wherever you are. Let's not become decensored to reality. Let's instead wake up to the truth. Stars. You, me, us, they, them, all of us together in this gray. We're all different shades of this gray together. Not only are we going to change the United States of America and Canada and Istanbul and Romania and any other country, China, Venezuela, Mexico, England, and Australia. The moon and the galaxies beyond the galaxies beyond the galaxies. We are the beginning, the middle, the end. We were here when everything started. We'll be here when everything ends. We are omnipresent, just like Jesus Christ himself. We've seen it all. We've been it all. We've done it all. And when everything starts again, we'll do it all again. We are the light and the darkness, and we are the one thing that the darkness can't defeat, because we are the light, we are omnipresent, and we are everywhere all at once. We are nothing, yet we are everything. There's going to be times when the worst of things are going to happen to you to try to stop your light and hinder you from recognizing your star power. Instead of being hindered into the darkness, be hindered into the light. Recognize your power and radiate it. Together, if we radiate our light together, not only will we be the brightest stars, but we'll unite the entire galaxy to breathe light together. Radiate your light. Be the star you're supposed to be. Let's change everything together. Don't forget your power. Don't forget that you can be a star wherever you are. I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow. May the light right on. I see your light in the darkness, and I hope that you see mine. See you tomorrow. Night, night.